Ni hao ma, baby girl. It's me, Devon. I'm back in the UK, but unfortunately I've not been back in the UK for long enough for us to have recorded and edited an episode of the podcast Kill James Bond. So today you're getting a bonus unlock. This is a bonus from all the way back in Season 2. This is 3 Days of the Condor. We're unlocking this because Robert Redford, the star of this, has recently passed away. I think the phrase "one of the good ones" is thrown around a lot these days, but he really was one of the good ones. Also on this episode is our editor, Nate. He's the fourth guy in the picture. We get a lot of messages that are like, basically, who's the fourth guy in the picture? It's this guy. It's Nate. It's this fella. All right, enjoy, and I will see you next week for the bonus episode, which is, of course, Signs.
You think not getting caught on a lie is the same thing as telling the truth?
Hello and welcome to another episode of Kill James Bond. I am Alice Caldwell-Kelly and I am joined by the full cast, the full complement of our podcast today because we've got Abigail Thorne, we've got Devon, and we've got Nate Bethea. How's it going, Nate?
It's going very well. Thank you for having me on. It's always an interesting experience because I normally listen to this, post it's been recorded. And so I'm just sort of like, ooh, I'm on a real recording. I can change things. I can change the direction of this episode. I can really fuck it up and derail it. So yeah, always exciting.
Yeah, and we made us all watch 3 Days of the Condor, a 1970s sort of classic of that genre. It's got Robert Redford in it. It's a conspiracy film, right? It's the United States government is controlling everything. It's using it to do evil sort of film. And it's pursuing...
It's using it to pay YouTubers... What? Oh, okay.
Yeah, exactly. And it's pursuing one guy against the system, right? We love those kinds of movies. We've talked about stuff that's inspired by them.
I saw a tweet years ago where a guy said that 3 Days of the Condor is a movie about a man who dresses so fly the CIA wants him dead.
That's
literally true.
Yes.
That is very true. I would also say that it's a movie about how you can defeat the CIA single-handedly as long as you carjack the hottest woman you've ever seen.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also a film about what if the CIA had a succession of smaller CIAs within it that were...
Don't think that I don't have a drop for that particular line.
Maybe there's another CIA inside the CIA.
Maybe there's a little miniature CIA inside that CIA.
Maybe there's a society within society.
Like a Matryoshka CIA,
yeah. What if there's like one really small CIA that doesn't come apart and that's the real CIA and that's just surrounded by a bunch of other CIAs?
Just fake hollow CIAs. I have to say, though, I'm not a lifelong New Yorker, but I lived in New York City for 4 years and spent a lot of time there for various reasons in the years prior. So anything that captures bad old New York is always a delight to me.
There's some real early 70s New York in this
Yes,
movie,
there
too.
is. There really is.
There's a bit where he gets almost run down by a cab and the guy puts his head out the window and goes, "What the hell you doing, man? Go you sleeping at night, will you?" Perfect.
It's
Just
perfect.
Absolutely no notes. But so we begin in a sort of quite collegiate intelligence agency.
Yeah, the CIA turns out really chill place to work. Like,
it's something that I think it's a feature of some of the Jack Ryan books too, is that like at some point in the intelligence services you need just a sort of bunch of very tweedy guys who wear sweaters who read a lot, who don't do the Jason Bourne stuff and instead just spend a lot of time reading novels. And so
I have an anecdote about this that I could leave to everyone's discretion as to whether or not it's too army meathead to be left in a regular episode, but I do feel like it's very much up our alley as a show.
Say it.
Which is a friend of mine who's now a special forces officer. At one point was on a special detachment mission to work for Ranger Regiment on one of their deployments to Afghanistan. So he was working in their Joint Operations Center, And he said that about 75% of the people in those, what they call a JOC, the JOC, are Defense Intelligence Agency, CIA, other agencies, etc., civilians, sort of like working in the whatever intelligence gathering things. And he says that the Ranger guys have a nickname for these people. And I mean, obviously it's a subset, but it just applies to all of them. They call them wall walkers because they're so autistic that they have to follow the perimeter of the wall to walk anywhere that they're going. And so, like, if I were to describe basically everything that the Special Operations Command across all of the U.S. military has done since 2001 has more or less been powered by autism. And I just felt like that was something that was worth including.
Yeah, he works for the Autism Intelligence Agency.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
In the same way that Jack Ryan theoretically teaches at the Naval Academy at Annapolis and then incidentally gets drawn into shit, but he still gets to preserve this sort of Donish affect. Robert Redford works for, I think it's called the American Historical Literary Society.
That's right.
And what they do is sort of open source intelligence, is the way he describes it later on, is they read everything that gets published. They read novels, they read journals, they read cheap spy thrillers, and they plug it all into a big computer, and the computer tells them whether or not it is ripping off something the CIA actually does, so they know if the CIA is leaking.
That's a cool idea. But also, we see that he gets his own office and, he comes to work in jeans.
It looks like such a nice place to work,
right?
genuinely.
And his girlfriend works there, and, it just
Janice.
seems like a very relaxed atmosphere,
Yeah, what's funny is we get, a solid 10 minutes, which doesn't seem like a lot of time, but it does a lot of work introducing just the people he works with, his office. He's late coming in, and when we introduce him, the first shot of Robert Redford is him wearing a sort of a beanie hat like Boris Johnson wears one, riding a 1970s e-bike in New York City traffic.
Yeah, riding north on Park Avenue, to 77th Street, where they have this townhouse, converted into an office, basically looking like me in traffic. But it's like a moped. I don't even think it's if it's an e-bike, that's amazing. But yeah, he's riding a moped amid a sea of gigantic 70s boat cars. And it's just sort of establishing that he's a renegade. He's an outsider. He does things his own way. He marches to the tune of a different drummer.
That's right.
To include when he goes to get lunch in the world's most fateful lunch order.
Yeah, his boss hands him some report and then sends him out to get lunch in the rain, and he sneaks out the back, which makes their ex-military security guard very mad because it's unauthorized.
And we see that the building is being watched by somebody in a car who is crossing off names on a list as they enter and leave. So they don't see him leave is the point.
But they see him come in and they cross his name off the list, and the surveillance glamour shot returns. I don't remember what movie did this last, but having a photo of someone that's meant to be a surveillance photo, but because it's an actor, you just have a 5x5 glossy of Robert Redford. It looks like he should have signed it, and they just tick him off the list, and it's yep, Robert Redford is in the building. The other thing that I like about this is this sequence sort of really makes a sort of quietly a big deal of the sort of access control of this building. You have to get buzzed in. There's a camera. There's a security guard, and we see that the woman by the desk has a panic button, and she has a 45 automatic just in her desk drawer. Throughout this scene, people are constantly going in and out and opening the door and answering it for mail and stuff for different reasons, and it's always a slight hassle. I think Robert Redford goes to check on his moped because some teens are trying to steal the wheels off of it or something. And
I fucking adore the first half hour of this movie so much, and the first 10 minutes where it takes so much time and care, setting up this ensemble cast. Everyone's in there. They've all got their own little foibles. There are people who get one line, but they're treated as if they'll have the entire rest of the movie.
Yeah,
and it's really, really good in setting up that this is just Redford's just gone to work today, and it just so happens that some of his habits have completely saved him. When he goes out to get lunch through a back entrance because it's raining, and someone comments that he always does that when it's raining. It's really good.
There's a nice little detail as well, which is that Robert Redford has been reading a bunch of mystery novels or something that have been translated into a weird assortment of languages.
Yes.
And anyway, he's compiled this report that says
Arabic but not Russian.
Yeah.
At one point, he just I don't know why I pulled this to drop, but
Dutch.
but not like.
He's compiled this report that's like, hey, I reckon some weird shit might be happening. And he's passed it on up the chain to his supervisor. And then he gets it back and they're like, no, they don't think it's anything. Like, so just forget about it, right?
Yeah,
like anything to me
back.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we see outside some more of the surveillance team assemble. There's a guy wearing a big rain poncho who kind of looks like me. There's a mailman. And then there's also a guy who I will be referring to temporarily as Mr. Euro Vibes. And
yeah, it's fucking Max von Sydow walks into this shot and I'm like,
young.
There he is, baby.
That's the leader of High Throthgar himself.
and he's looking great in this movie. Like we're gonna sort of talk a lot about Robert Redford's fits, which are incredible. But to me, Max von Sydow's fits in this are great. He's dressed exactly like the hostage takers in The Taking of Pelham 123.
100%.
100%, yeah.
He's kind of the same character even, because there's this like 70s American fascination with and repulsion of European mercenaries. That's who the guys in Pelham 123 are. That's who he is. He's wearing this sort of like houndstooth sport coat and a trilby through like an alpine hat through most of the movie. He's got like a very sort of trimmed moustache. And you see him watching the street, and the first big indication that something is seriously amiss here is he signals for them to like go in by like spearing his umbrella into a trash can. So it's just standing up. And it looks weird as hell. And you're just like, oh, something is about to happen here. So Robert Redford, he goes to get lunch. There's lots of great little fucking New York City lines.
It's really, really
like,
good.
He's sort of his cover. He's masquerading as like a sort of a failed writer, and the guy at the deli tries to cheer him up. And he says,
I always wanted to be a Scoffier.
which is great. It's just he always wanted to be a Scoffier, like the famous chef, and he's like working at a sandwich counter. And it's such a perfect little like.
Yeah, they have this long interaction between the two of them where he's just like, well, to be fair, like Picasso never painted a painting till whatever, like, but then again, Mozart started composing very young, and the dude next to him, who's also an extremely New York guy, listens to most of this and goes, what is this, the New York Public Library? What's going on here? It's
yeah. It all feels so.
The Mets, baby, love the Mets.
He's just like, yeah, I come here like everybody else to get sick. And the guy's like, hey, whoa, what you talking about?
Come on.
Hey,
it sells instantly that like Robert Redford has done this most days for like the past however many years.
But the thing I would say too is that something that may not come across is that aspect of New York City is very much dying out if it hasn't already died out. And if you watch films like The Taking of Pelham 123, this film, The French Connection, to some extent Taxi Driver, although Taxi Driver very much was trying to make New York into the sort of like, the hell world, jungle of decay. A little bit The Warriors too, just because it was filmed on location. Some Woody Allen shit, like, let's be honest, Manhattan or Annie Hall. Like, you get this glimpse of what it was, that sort of where Archie Bunker and the cast of Taxi were real people. And like these lunch counter diners, corner lot restaurants, those don't really exist anymore. Like, some of them are still around, but so many of them have either been turned into like Duane Reade's, which is a chain pharmacy, or bank branches, or Starbucks, because the landlords could get so much more money for rent, and neighborhood demographics have changed. And it's like, so you can still find some of these places here and there. They're rare, and a lot of the times they're owned by people who are very, very elderly at this point. But they are still kind of there. But when you watch this stuff, it's just full on. If you're like a bad old New York aficionado like I am, it's a full-on just fucking like fire hose of I guess what you could call imagined nostalgia. So for me,
well, even some of those accents don't exist anymore.
Well, no,
really.
I mean, like, half of the people at the American Historical Literary Society or whatever have mid-Atlantic accents.
Those they all sound like William F. Buckley.
Genuinely,
like,
they said.
I kept
thinking to myself, listening to, I was just like, damn, I didn't realize that so many fucking British people had ascended to the upper echelon of the CIA.
Yes.
And
Are they not British? I thought they were.
No. They're the kind of like hyper posh American where you end up sounding sort of quite British.
that doesn't exist anymore, really, but it did back in those days. People who would have been in their 50s and 60s back in those days would have had that sort of like Knickerbocker, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, what we called mid-Atlantic accent. Yeah, William F. Buckley was one of those people. Like, basically, if you were super fancy, you like your governesses and stuff, your nannies were British, and you went to Europe in the summer. And so, like,
I'm just now realizing why there's a character in an anime I watched as a child who was a princess who had that accent, and that's what it's a reference to. Okay, thank you. I now understand Tenchi Muyo Ryoki.
It's just a very Abigail sentence.
well, but like, I feel like the most famous incarnation of this would be like, imagine a normal American saying, "We have nothing to fear but fear itself." Like, that's not a normal way of talking.
Yeah,
But that was Franklin Delano Roosevelt's normal speaking voice, because he was from that like super upper echelon of New York society that did like, took a fucking boat to Europe every summer to like go to Biarritz or whatever, and like they had that accent, and similarly, like you were saying, Alice, some of these like super niche Manhattan accents don't really exist anymore. Like Robert Caro does a audiobook for I think he's did one for The Power Broker and his book about Lyndon Johnson, and his accent is fully like vestigial Manhattan white guy accent that just doesn't exist anymore, and it's really genuine. Like it has a sort of like nostalgia effect for me, because like here and there you'll encounter old people that talk this way, but it's pretty much gone now.
Yeah, it seems nice. It's nice that Manhattan is that rather than just like dog walkers, which is the only people who like are there now. But anyway, the bad thing about it is that Max von Sydow murders everyone.
He does.
Yeah, he comes in, and with a silenced Mac-10, they shoot everybody, including Robert Redford's office girlfriend Janice. We didn't really talk about Janice, but he is also incidentally a bit racist to her, because she is Chinese. He asks her what a hanzi means, and it's 10. And he asks her if she's sure, and she goes like, "Look at my implied Chinese face. Would I be wrong about this?" And he goes, "Well, it's a nice face, but you've never been to China," which is
I don't know.
dude.
Also, those are his last words to her.
Yeah. But so Max von Sydow and his guys kill everybody, as you say, very unsentimentally.
Yeah.
The only one that they don't actually show is them killing Janice, but she gets a sort of moment of bravery where she's like sort of resigned to it.
We get that 70s stage blood too, which is really bright red. It looks like raspberry jam. It's good fun.
Mm-hmm. And so Robert Redford comes back with a lunch order to find that everyone has been murdered in his absence. They didn't check for him.
He's like, "Oh, cool! I got 6 free lunches."
Yeah, he sits there on the desk eating 6 sandwiches.
That's the champion's breakfast, man. That's if you're about to fight the CIA, 6 sandwiches of basically identical composition. That's what you want. The movie really fucking takes its time with this scene as well, which again, I hugely appreciate. Like, there's no music. He just like goes through the house and finds everyone that he works with completely dead as fuck. And
and his first reaction is disbelief too.
Yeah.
It
he
doesn't
thinks
seem
there's
real
a
to
joke
him.
happening at the start, and then slowly realizes, and you see the dread, and he's like hugging all of the walls, like he's really slowly progressing through the building, and it's the only sound is the fucking machine, the transcribing machine whirring.
Yeah, it's great.
Beautiful.
Robert Redford's a great actor too. So,
absolutely.
So
he takes
We're going to
the
stop
gun
praising
and
this
then
movie
leaves.
in about 25 minutes. Just get your fill.
He takes the 1911 and he runs, and we get this is where he almost gets hit by the cab, and the guy goes, "Hey, you're walking here," because he's traumatized, and he sees everyone as suspicious and threatening, like a woman sort of walking a pram. He's like, "Holy shit!" And this is really
cool.
It's really well done.
Really well done.
And so he runs to a phone booth where he calls a guy who's he's called the Major in the credits, but one of the titles he gives himself is the Panic Officer, which is a fantastic job title.
You ring him up and you're like, "Help!" Which is what he does. He goes, "Yeah, shit, my entire section's been hit. I'm the only survivor." To which the Major's like,
I'm not crazy. This is the sample that is used in the Radiohead song Fitter Happier on the album OK Computer. This is the Panic Office.
God. Yeah, it is.
That dawned on me watching this because I have listened to that album since it came out when I was 13 years old, and I never caught the reference. And back in those days, would have been pretty challenging to figure out where it was from, and I just never bothered to look it up. But the instant he said that, I was like, "Oh my god, that's they
That's the Panic Officer."
It's the Panic
You were
Officer.
doing sort of Leo DiCaprio. You're pointing at the screen.
You're like, I'm a creep. What the hell am I doing here? Anyway, the Robert Redford is like, I'm not a field agent. I'm just a nerd. I'm a
I
nerd.
read books. My code name is Condor, by the way, because the guy
Sick.
the guy
Title of a
reprimands him. The guy reprimands him for like calling on a payphone and like not following proper communication procedures. At one point, he says, "Are you damaged?" Which for me is a little on the nose as a sort of uncaring CIA. But
Yeah, they say we can give you an appointment in 6 months, maybe. The waiting lists are really long.
yeah, do you think of yourself as a CIA officer when you jerk off?
They tell him, don't go home and call us back in 2 hours, because presumably they're on lunch as well.
Yeah, what I really enjoy is there's only like a very short shot of him doing this, but he gets so stressed after this that he goes to an art gallery. That's where
he just goes to the
go.
Guggenheim.
Just swings through the fucking Guggenheim. Which, to be
He's
fair,
got to kill 2 hours
I've
in
done
Manhattan.
this too, so
Yeah, he just wanders around. He tries going home, even though they told him not to.
he does.
And his landlady tells him, "Oh, hey, your friends are here from the CIA to kill you."
He's like, "Oh, your two friends are here. They said you'd be home early. I let them in ahead of you." And he's like, "All right, see ya." Fucking leaves immediately, and he goes to.
What I like about this is that this is sort of clearly a conscious decision here to make it seem like Robert Redford is traumatized and crazy, and the CIA are trying to negotiate him back home safely.
Yes.
Because this whole time you see the CIA working its way through the phone calls, sending guys to investigate and clean up the historical society. They all talk really fucking weird too. That's also a choice. Like we get introduced to a sort of a recurring what Higgins, yes.
Yeah.
Who answers his phone with this fucking sentence.
Higgins, Deputy Director, I'm holding the baby. Go ahead.
They all fucking talk like this. There's a scene later on where someone rings up Jobert, the fucking Eastern Europe,
Mr. Eurovibes,
yeah, Mr. Eurovibes, and says a sentence, and he has to just continue riffing in pretend
metaphor.
code
Really
metaphor, which is really fucking good.
It's something like, "I heard you delivered a package today," and he's like, "No, I had to leave a sorry you were out slip."
Yeah, he's like, "It has not yet been signed for," or some shit like that.
The Royal Mail is on strike. It's getting more and more convoluted to what? By the way, did any of you spot who the actor playing Higgins is?
It looks like Burt Reynolds a bit, but it's not. It's
not.
Cliff Robertson.
It's Uncle Ben.
It's Uncle Ben off Spider's Man.
Uncle Ben.
It's Spider-Man's Uncle Ben.
He had a dark past.
The original, I know, right? It's the original Uncle Ben.
Fucked up.
So he calls them back at the appointed time. They have got his chief of section, Wicks, there with him. He's flown in from Washington DC.
Yeah, we see him get the call in DC. And
he has
and
an
head on
even
out.
more William F. Buckley accent too. He's even posher. So Robert Redford is fucking traumatized, right? He talks to Higgins on the phone. He says, "This is Condor," and Higgins says, "This is Higgins." And he immediately goes, "Well, how come I need a code name and you don't?" And Higgins
This is
just
really fun.
just stares for
It's
a
like a
second.
very, very long pause where Higgins waits out and goes, "All right, Turner," which is quite nice.
That's really
He's
funny.
like, "Look, your section. All right, we're gonna try to bring you in. Do you know this specific alleyway behind a specific hotel?" And he's like, "Yes."
Yeah, he's gonna. Your section chief is gonna be there. He's gonna be holding the Wall Street Journal under his arm, and he's getting more and more antsy. And finally, he delivers this perfect line.
I'm not going in any alley with you or anybody, and fuck the Wall Street Journal.
I agree.
Absolutely.
But it also, because he says, "Your section chief will meet you then." He goes, "I've never met my section chief. I don't know him. I don't know you either. How the fuck am I supposed to know who to trust?"
Yeah. It's a way better.
Never seen Spider-Man.
It's really good.
It's a way better sort of background than, say, Jason Bourne, right? Which I think this movie is in. I think we can usefully contrast this with
that's why
the
I wanted
Bourne
to talk
movies.
about this 100%.
You can usefully contrast it with the Bourne movies and with Syriana, I think. But the idea that, like, you've been working for the CIA for however knows how long, and you've never met any of these people, you don't know their faces. All the people you know have been killed, and all you have is, like, a phone number you can call to talk to a guy who is going to be rude to you. Is
sick.
It's
just like being trans.
It's perfect establishing work. It's perfect background.
It's really, really good. There's even a spot where he goes to another guy who wasn't in work that day and finds him completely dead ass in his like apartment, and manages to escape afterwards. So yeah, he's like, all right, look, I don't know any of you motherfuckers. Mm-hmm. Who's someone that I'm gonna know? I need you to bring someone I know. And they like think for a second. They're like, shit. There's a guy in accounting, Sam. You know him?
Yeah, and he's
like
my oldest friend. Yeah,
his smile when he mentioned Sam is like, oh, thank God. It's so good. Like, he's finally so relieved. He's like, yeah, fuck, Sam will do. Hell yeah, baby. I'll go meet Sam.
I haven't seen Sam in years. Can we go to the pub?
He's supposed to, with Janice, go to Sam and his wife's house that night. Something is established in the first scene. So he's like, fuck Sam. Nice. Okay.
Yeah. So we see Wicks, his boss, briefing Sam, strapping a sort of a bulletproof vest on him, and then another little indication that something is wrong. Because the movie thus far is still Robert Redford is crazy. Yeah, Robert Redford is crazy, and he is going off the reservation, and the CIA need to bring him in. But so he just casually asks Sam, like, "Oh, how do you know Robert Redford?" And he said, "Oh, we went to university together. We were both friends with my wife."
Did a podcast called James
That's
Bond.
right. And then Wicks just inexplicably, in this sort of mid-Atlantic accent, just leans over him. He's like, "Oh, Robert Redford ever fuck your wife?" And it's just, what'd you say that for, man? Why? What? And it's just this little seed of doubt that it's like, wait a second, maybe these guys aren't trying to help him after all.
Yeah. So they finally they meet in the alley, and this is such a fucking good scene because everyone involved is unbelievably nervous. Like, there's his section chief, there's Sam, there's fucking Condor, and they're like all at various ends of the alley. Condor spots Sam, he starts walking down, and then it's so slowly, like they really take their time. And he goes, hang on, where's the other guy?
Yeah, and the whole time, even like until this exact moment, there's this slightly annoying busker playing the same 3 or 4 notes on a trumpet in the distance. And it's just
Baker
like
Street.
And it's just it's slightly overstimulating, right? It feels like being nervous, and you just can't quite get it out of your head to concentrate on what's happening in front of you. But Dev, what happens?
Then his section chief kicks over a trash can to distract him, leans out from behind and just fucking opens fire. And that's like when you're like, holy shit, this dude flew in straight from DC, especially. This is section chief specifically to kill this absolute fucking no one. And the entire time, like, he's shooting back. Sam is going, what? It's him, man. What are you doing? The section chief gets shot through the leg, and Condor runs away. And the last thing that the chief does before he collapses is to straight up kill Sam. Shoots him right above the bulletproof vest, straight through the throat.
In the neck. Yeah.
It's also a really bad choice of when to open fire by the section chief. I would have shot him in the back. Actually, I would have shaken his hand and then gone, "Hey, welcome, hey, come in," and then shot him in the back and killed him. Like the section chief really fucks up, and therefore the rest of the movie happens. But not everyone's a cold-blooded assassin like me and Carmen from Spy Kids.
That's right.
That's right.
Sure.
So
then Robert Redford goes to a shop and carjacks a woman.
Yeah,
and this is when the movie starts to suck.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Oh,
relationships are all about kidnapping the right woman. Mm-hmm. And so he walks into a store. It's like an outdoor supply store, and Faye Dunaway walks in to order some skis, and he's like, "Okay, I kidnap Faye Dunaway."
That's Faye Dunaway.
Yeah,
quite straight. I was like, "Oh hell yeah!"
I recognize her from the Thomas Crown Affair remake.
Faye Dunaway sort of playing Faye Dunaway. She does a great line in Imperious, but that's also her only kind of line, like whether it works for the character or not. And so he kidnaps her at gunpoint, and like immediately sees right through her. There's this great bit where he's like, well, where do you live? Do you live alone? And she tries to lie. And he says, yeah, no, you definitely live alone. And it's great. It really establishes like she's kind of fast, but he's faster kind of thing. It's good. Meanwhile, Higgins goes to what would in the Bourne movies would be the room with all the screens where they track, hack, tap, bypass. In this movie,
screens haven't been invented, so it's just a room full of dudes.
It's a room full of dudes all smoking with separate telephones. They've got a sort of bright orange conference room. Incredible furniture.
Yeah, I'm reminded of the weird soundproofed room in the 2011 remake of Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy.
Yes! Yeah.
But that is a very conscious sort of trying to encapsulate the 70s from the perspective of a film that was made in, 11 years ago. Whereas this is like, just meant to be reflective of what people thought it would look like at the time, and in a way like it's so weird that strange 70s orange, you know what I'm talking about. Like you're it's in a UN office, or it's in some kind of fucking space station, or it's literally like Solaris, but like there's something, that weird orange color, like you said, smoking, the insane furniture, everything about it, like it just has this ambiance of like we've formally established the color palette of the corridors of power. And it's very, very strange when it's done, because like it seems dated, but then like it would have seemed dated in the 90s. Now it seems like a fucking different planet.
Yeah, it's perfect. And so Higgins reads them, the Condor's file, which is, and this is something I really like, it's totally unremarkable. This is the point at which in the Bourne movies, or in almost any other action movie that you do these days, you go, oh, this guy was special forces, he was in Delta, he can kill a guy using a spoon, he did 15 tours in Antarctica,
can bench press 5 million tons.
Yeah, exactly.
He was bitten by a radioactive spider.
Instead,
does whatever a spider can.
What he said was he did like 2 years service, 6 months overseas, and
he's not even handgun certified. He's like,
and he was in the Signal Corps. And what I like about this is when he says the word Signal Corps, you can hear the entire room roll their eyes. And it's like, there's this, I think it speaks to like a real difference in how military service was viewed in the 70s as to how it is now, where you have like 1-2% of people under 30 have ever been in the military for any capacity for any time. Whereas at this point, it's like, yeah, he was in the Signal Corps, so what? Fucking everybody's done that. It's totally normal.
Yeah, I guess because there was like a world war. So like, it's like, yeah, everyone was in the army in some capacity a few years ago, so.
Yeah, I mean, his age, he looks like he would be somebody who would have. The thing about it is that in those days, the U.S. military was drafting people. Like, even before Vietnam, there was the draft. And if you remember the dates on his things, it basically sounds like he was drafted in the late 50s. He then worked for Bell Labs, as a telephone wire guy for like 10 years before being recruited. But fundamentally, like, his military service wasn't because he was an elite super soldier. It was, he probably had to because he was drafted. Like, my friend's dad, he was, he worked for IBM pretty much his entire career, but he, same thing, got drafted. He finished college and then got drafted and spent 2 years in the Signal Corps, and then went to work for IBM in like the early to mid 60s and basically stayed on for like 40 years and then retired. And like that path, like you said, that would have been normal. It would be normal for basically any dude of say mid to late 30s in the early to mid 70s. It would have been normal for that person to be either a Vietnam veteran or have been drafted pre-war, because they ramped up the draft in America in Korea and then like basically post Sputnik. Certainly with all of the Red Scare shit in the 50s, they started ramping the draft up. And so like,
and his job in the military was he was a telephone lineman.
Yeah, this comes up later.
Yeah.
How old is Robert Redford meant to be in this film? Because like, it was made in the 70s, which is when everyone who was 20 looks like they were 55 because they all smoked and ate like shit.
Well,
So
Robert Redford was born in 1936. Which puts him like in time for.
I would say he's supposed to be like, he looks like he's supposed to be to his mid 30s.
Wow. Okay, he looks like shit. Sorry.
He looks
My man needs
phenomenal.
retinoids.
He also looks great because I think he doesn't look like shit to me, because it's just a reminder in the 70s that like the noble protagonist is chosen by whether or not he started to go bald when he's 30, because
Yes,
every
right.
fucking dude is balding in this film because like they hadn't invented hair plugs yet.
One of the things that I really
day.
like about this too, as someone who has no military experience but reads a lot, right, and is a big fucking nerd, one of the guys goes,
Tom Clancy of podcasting.
exactly, goes, well, how the fuck has he been able to like do all of this shit and like escape our grasp? And we get a great little bit of dialogue.
Where did he learn evasive moves?
He reads.
It just
Yeah,
doesn't
so,
make
like,
sense.
Sure, man. Fucking okay.
But there's also a line too that I thought was really interesting, which I believe was Max von Sydow's character again, or Joubert, where he basically says the reason why he's been able to escape you is because he's not reacting like a trained professional. He's not a trained professional. So we know what you're supposed to
He's a
do.
dipshit.
And he's just panicking, and so because he's unpredictable, that's why you're not able to predict him. And I was like, yeah, that's actually like, that's a way better than suddenly this guy is like, hey, I was, I strung fucking telephone lines and I read books, but now I'm Jason Bourne. That doesn't really make sense. But this guy, like, he's acting out of a sense of self-preservation, but not as a trained spy. But then, like, as time goes on, you see him start to get better at stuff too. That's the thing that's interesting about it, is that he's just, like you said, he's just a dipshit, but he's forced to do spy stuff. And so he eventually
The CIA boss is just like, damn, is this guy gay? He sounds gay.
Yes. Oh, that fucking line. I have the line. So the CIA boss is trying to figure out, like, did he kill all his coworkers? Is he like going into business for himself as a mercenary? Is he selling us out? Has he been compromised?
Homosexual, broke, vulnerable.
Is he a boy moder?
Yeah.
Is he a twink?
He doesn't even say homosexual. He just goes, sexual.
Homosexual?
This
Can't
is
even
John
say the
Houseman,
word.
by the way. Phenomenal actor, like prolific throughout the 70s and 80s. I'm trying to think of anything that the listener might know him from, and the only thing that I've come up with is that he was the driving instructor in The Naked Gun. That's like all I've got. This is
Oh,
the guy.
fuck. That's a great reach term.
But it's like this is the guy. He's so fucking good at being old man in a suit going, yes, but let's consider now the possibility that this man might be gay. What about that?
Hun? Is he an
And the
egg?
entire time that he's
Is he a
going
troon?
like, maybe this guy's based as shit, maybe he's cool. It's cut across to Robert Redford, like panicking like a little bitch in this woman that he's
Yes.
taken captive's house, being like, all right, I need
He's
to think. I
going
need to fucking
trap
think.
mode aesthetics.
It's
He might be a
so
twink.
good.
he might be an otter, he might be a bear.
Is he ingesting 100 milligrams of calm a day? Performing reverse lunges?
So Robert Redford has like kidnapped Faye Dunaway. He tells her pretty much what's going on. He goes, yeah, I'm in the CIA. I'm being hunted. I don't know why. She doesn't believe a
Yeah,
word
very
of it.
rightfully, she looks at him like, what?
Yeah.
She just briefly goes, oh, by the way, I have some shirts in my closet which look absolutely fire on you.
Yeah, there's an unnamed, unseen character that is this woman's like boyfriend, partner,
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
apparently is like the fit king of New York, because like everything that fucking Robert Redford just pulls out of a closet fits him not only perfectly, but is the flyest shit I've ever seen. in
Yeah,
my fucking
all of the
life.
shirts have like fucking like double pockets. The shirts have like epaulets. It's wild.
All of his
Also-
collars stick straight up and are like a foot long.
Also, at one point when he is pulling the shirts out of her closet, he goes,
Are you a clown?
CIA clowns.
Homosexual. So on the news, he hears that Sam is fucking dead.
"Yeah,
And he's like, oh no. So he ties, I nearly said Frida Kahlo.
we have to talk about
There's
about
a
sex,
lot
right?
to talk about
Because
No, the sex doesn't happen
sex
yet.
isn't. Yeah.
no, I know, but the sexuality, I mean.
Oh, yeah,
Because like the air of this, like compare this to a modern movie, right? Like your modern movie hero kidnaps a woman. I would say in any movie that gets made these days, first thing they do is reassure her, like, hey, I'm not a rapist, right? That's not what the vibe is here. Robert Redford does not do that. He just fucking lets that hang there for a while. And so he's in her house. He's looking through all of her shit, all of her photographs, because she's a photographer. And they're kind of flirting, even though she's terrified. And I don't know if you would make this now. I don't know if you should make this now. But you can see the outlines of what this plot's going to be, which is, do you think love can bloom even during a kidnapping? Right?
He begins to win his hostage over by liking a photo she took of a park bench.
Yeah.
He analyzes it to her, and he very specifically is like, no, this isn't winter. This is November, right?
Yeah. And so he's willing to threaten her. He's exhausted because he hasn't slept, so he literally pins her down on the bed just to sleep.
Very strange.
It's sort of implicitly sexual, right? And it's implicitly sexually threatening. But I think the attitude of this movie is sort of he is judged by his actions, right? It never even occurs to him. And B, it's fucking Robert Redford. He looks like Robert Redford. How upset could you be, right? And that's the more dubious thing to me, is that I think that's sort of something that's in the movie's mind at this point, if that makes sense.
He ties her to a toilet and steals her car to go to Sam's house.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. There's a lot here to discuss. Yeah. She's refers to him as having roughed her up, and he gets very offended by that and responds by immediately roughing her up, which is interesting.
Yeah. She does a great Faye Dunaway line, or rather a great line for Faye Dunaway to deliver, which is, "That gun gives you the right to rough me up, not to ask me personal questions."
He goes, "Have I roughed you up? Have I raped you?" And she responds by going, "The night is young."
Which is, and the fucking, again, the tone of that line, there's some ambiguity there, right? This is something that we see made explicit later on, but having tied her up, it reminds me of a fucking dirty postcard from the 1950s that I saw once, which is a burglar has tied a woman up. He's got the swag bag with all of her valuables. He's got the domino mask. He's climbing out of the window, and the caption is her saying to him, "So what? You're just gonna fucking leave?" That's.
I see.
First of all, she just like me. Second of all, that's kind of what Faye Dunaway's sexuality is portrayed as in this movie. Women love being kidnapped, provided it's by a sensitive guy. It's weird. But so he ties her up and he leaves her there.
Would you let a sensitive white boy kidnap you one time? And the answer
Queen,
is
can I kidnap you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, actually.
Appearing in my DMs to be like, "Queen, can I tie you to a toilet and then steal a car? Can I do that?" I'm like, "No."
It's all of my
flirt
DMs.
with my caps is like an AGP. So there's this movie. There's a lot of cutaway scenes, right? This movie not only does not pass the Bechdel test, but it also is unable to pass the corollary ultra Bechdel test that I've just invented. Because there are literally not only are there no scenes between two women.
Is there a woman?
There's every scene between two men. They're still talking about Condor.
Yeah.
No one's ever not talking about this fucking guy.
It fails the Joubert test because we go to Washington D.C. where Joubert explains the thing about he's not a professional. He could misdirect you by accident, not even know he's doing it. He's talking to a guy we don't know yet. And the guy's like, "Okay, we didn't kill everybody. That's fine. Can you kill Wicks to cover it up for me?" And Joubert, an absolute don, the gentleman he is like, "Yeah, that one's on the house because it's on me. I fucked up not killing Robert Redford, so I'll just do that one for free."
It is nice of him, yeah. So at this point, Condor has headed over to his dead mate Sam's house because he was still supposed to meet him there for dinner with his wife.
Yeah, and we see incidentally the little sort of throwaway. Oh, did Robert Redford ever fuck this guy's wife thing? He absolutely did.
100% he did.
Yeah, he nearly does it now.
He's on an Olympic level of not explaining shit to anyone though. So. He walks in and she's like, "Yeah, someone's been calling me," and just hanging up immediately. And he just he's like, "You have to leave now." And she's like, "Why?" And he's like, "Get out of the fucking house." Just shoving her into a fucking elevator.
And she's prepping a 70s dinner party, and all I can think of is, I know it smell crazy in there.
She's pouring the fucking gelatin over the fucking carrots. It's gonna be bad in there, man. It's gonna be horrendous.
Yeah. But so he puts.
She doesn't know Sam's dead.
No.
He puts her
He
still
doesn't
in.
tell her.
I think she's still wearing a dressing gown, but he puts her in the lift and just says, like, go, fuck off. And then in the
Leave,
lift
don't come back.
Get out of this film.
And she does.
Yeah. And so he gets the lift down, but in the lift is none other than Mr. Eurovibes himself, Joubert.
Max von Sydow.
Max
That's
von
right.
Sydow, who is ice fucking cold this whole scene, because the lift's going down, people get in and out, there's a guy with a cake, there's some kids, and again, any other movie, your assassin, right, who knows who he's looking at. The Condor is like avoiding eye contact with him, and Joubert is just like casually maintaining that eye contact, but he doesn't seem inconvenienced, he seems amused, right?
He's
like
enjoying himself.
Yeah.
Big Scaramanga vibes.
Yeah. When the kids get off the elevator, he's like, I bet they're the same everywhere. It's just this incredibly tense little moment. It's all done through eye contact, and they're both really good actors. It's just really good.
Mm-hmm.
But then we have to do some more racism, right?
Of course.
Yeah, this.
I'm very stupid. I didn't
line.
read this as racism because it's a mixed race group of youths, but very specifically.
Well, he encounters a group of youths, but let me phrase it in a way that makes it sound much more racist than it's portrayed, which is he tells the first black guy in the movie, "You can't tell me you've never broken into a car before."
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, that is what he does.
Max von Sydow leaves the building first, and Robert Redford is like, okay, I'm pretty sure Max von Sydow is going to shoot me as soon as I walk out the door.
Mm-hmm.
But he's probably not going to do it if I've got a bunch of people with me. So these kids are hanging out in the lobby, and he says, I left my my keys in my car. Has anyone got like a coat hanger or something? I can put it under the window and fish them out.
I mean, his
and
first
he turns
line
to
is like, who is good with a coat hanger?
Yeah,
Which
that's
is a
fucking
baffling
weird.
sentence.
Yeah. But then yeah, you're right, Alice. He turns to like the first black person in the movie and says, you can't tell me you've never broken into a car before. So what?
Which I'm not going to offer a defense of this, but I will say that it definitely is in keeping with the portrayals of characters like this in films from this era. I think one of the best examples of this I can think of is we are constantly told to marvel at the chase scene in The French Connection. And quite frankly, it is very impressive, especially when you think of the technical limitations of the day. But
sure.
Gene Hackman's character in The French Connection is like an Irish cop in New York who's just flat out racist, randomly goes into bars and in Bed-Stuy and roughs dudes up and is like, I will plant drugs on you unless you give me what, I want, that kind of a thing, and calls them slurs and all sorts of stuff. And I feel as though in the 70s, my impression of American films was that there was this nod towards sort of like, oh yeah, authentic people are racist, so to be authentic, you have to show them being racist.
And cinema verite. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, to working class racism, yeah.
And I feel as though there was always an understanding like that they would justify this by saying like, oh yeah, we know it's bad, but it's true to life. But then you ran into the eternal problem that, for example, Archie Bunker was supposed to be portrayed as negative, but then Americans just watched him being racist and were like, yeah, I like this guy, I want to watch him be more racist. It is definitely one of those things, and I mean I'm a little bit muddle-headed right now because I'm a bit unwell, but I could think of some other examples of 70s films where you are just taken aback by how overt that is and how it sort of passes, like it's to the same degree as like, oh, they light up cigarettes on a plane and nobody bats an eye because obviously that was a thing back then. They just say insanely racist shit and it's like, oh yeah,
just say a slur on a plane.
Yeah.
But so he escapes using this group of youths as cover. There's little touches. That's what I like in a film, right? Like small little details. And so Joubert follows him into the street, and he uses the scope of his rifle to read the license plate.
Oh, but it's not a rifle, Alice.
Oh no, it's a broom handle Mauser. I know, but I was gonna
say he's got a sniper pistol, and it's just one of the strangest assassin weapons I've seen in a film, because genuinely the scope is about twice as long as the barrel. So it looks as though he's being sent out on like a fucking comedy mob hit where he has to kill people with the most improbable weapons possible.
This was the finest designated marksman weapon of the Austro-Hungarian army.
Look, there's basically no weapon that I find more amusing or love more than a really embellished pistol. Like, it's the funniest shit you can do is just have, like, a shoulder stock on a fucking pistol.
Have you seen the Jeffree Star gun?
I've seen the fucking Jeffree Star gun, yeah. The pistol with a really long barrel, the fucking guy from...
That wasn't the detail that I wanted to talk about. The detail I wanted to talk about is after he reads the license plate, you can see his lips moving because he's like trying to remember it. It's just a perfect little thing that like most actors or most directors wouldn't think to do.
He's repeating it to himself.
And I'm Joubert. Do not forget my name.
So he goes back to Faye Dunaway's apartment to have sex with her.
Yeah, here's a bad scene.
Yeah, women love it when you kidnap them at gunpoint and tie them up.
I mean,
I knew you were going to do that. Are you going to do that?
So having been like tied to a toilet for the past however many hours, she's now like insanely horny, right? Because that like, oh fuck, like the way that he seduces her is he talks about the photos some more, and then he asks her what would be a fatal question to me.
Why haven't you asked me to untie your hands?
And then she's like, yeah, okay, sex now. And we get a...
No, it's weirder than that even, because he comes back after like a long time of her being handcuffed to a toilet, and immediately he, at gunpoint, has her phone her boyfriend and explain that she won't be arriving until tomorrow night. And then
fucking Chad move though, like...
And the shot is so fucking tight. Like it's both of their faces, and that is 100% of the shot. Is this woman on the phone and Robert Redford right fucking there, and you know he has a gun. The gun isn't shown in the shot, but like this man is a threatening fucking presence. And she goes,
like, Chad move, make your girl call her boyfriend and say she's not coming over tonight. Like,
yeah,
and then
I mean this is
like, damn.
very very alpha male, but maybe not. And then we have,
as the viral tweet says, if you let a trans girl talk about her hyperfixation interest for 40 minutes and then say you're so cute when you get excited and give her a head pat, you will get whole. And that is what happens.
Listen, that's a 100% effective strategy.
Yeah.
And then we get the most baffling sex scene I've ever seen in my fucking life.
Yeah, what the fuck?
This is like a sex scene if someone had like trained a fucking AI by making it watch other sex scenes from the 70s and not explained what sex was to it.
You know how Pierce Brosnan had a special sex move, right? Which was, I think it was to like bite their thumb or something, right?
Bite their shoulder, yeah.
The shoulder, bite their shoulder, yeah. Well, Faye Dunaway has a special
normal
sex move.
A normal sex move that happens normally.
No, it's weird to do. No, it's not.
Her special sex move is in the middle of having sex, to just whip her head to the left facing the camera, just like she's just seen someone come in. That's like... This happens like 3 times in this scene, too.
Yeah, but also there's a lot of like jump cuts.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have this many jump cuts when I have sex, and I'm a YouTube video essayist. Like,
you have to stop for the costume changes.
I have to say that this is such a good movie. I really like this movie. This is the worst sex scene I think I have ever
It's
seen.
something else, man.
It cuts to unconnected photographs.
No,
like, if it is shown as a photograph,
that's her
of like,
hyperfixation.
Yeah, the photos are hers because she's like frigid until Robert Redford is able to like make her not frigid by giving her the fucking Robert Redford penis. That's the point of the scene.
But the photos, they don't get any less frigid. Like, if it had been a photo of, like, I'm being, like, crude, but a flower opening or a train going into a tunnel.
Yeah, a train going into a tunnel, absolutely.
I mean, I was thinking about the only thing I can think of, and it's a different style of being a bad sex scene. The only thing I can think of in a film where I have been more put off by how bad a sex scene is do you remember the fading into black and out of black in the film 300 during the sex scene?
Yes.
Oh my god.
Where it fades out and you're like, wow, that's relatively tasteful for a sex scene for a movie this lurid and stupid. And then it fades back in to him just nailing his wife from like different positions.
like an unironic version of the OSS Sondi set joke where it pans back down and you just see him pumping.
Yeah, it's like 6 fucking in and out, black face to black, and then just different positions of him nailing his wife over and over again.
funny. Fades to black, and then you're like, oh, that's very refined. And it fades back in, and it's from the shot like behind the guy where you could see his balls bouncing. That's the shot that they use. And you're like, oh, for fuck's, come on.
We are going to need to watch 300 at some point for the podcast.
We might have to. Yeah, the second one's good.
So the next morning, Robert Redford is up early. He's making coffee.
He's making house immediately. He's had sex with this woman, and she's been like captured 100%.
She comes in and she goes, "You're really a very sweet man to be with," which I understand to mean you are the only man this decade who eats pussy. Right?
I believe that to be the case.
Apart from Roger Moore.
Yeah, that's true. Obviously,
as a matter of course.
Yeah, and so she establishes this kind of, again, sort of dynamic, right? She's like,
do I have permission to take a shower?
And then, very, very weird fucking line. Well, tell me about it. But she goes like, oh, God. He asks her to help with the CIA thing. She believes he's in the CIA now. And she goes,
Could always depend on the old spy fucker.
And then he acts like she's called him a slur.
Yeah. Like, is spy like a bad word for spies?
It's a line that, like, the delivery and the rest they don't match, right? Faye Dunaway just kind of like just tosses it aside. Like, back in college they used to call me the old spy fucker.
The old spy fucker was the alternate name for this podcast. Actually.
That's actually not a bad call.
And Robert Redford looks at her like he's just been shot. He's like outraged.
Yeah, you're not supposed to call spies. I think it's like it's
Call them the
POE.
S
It's
words?
person of espionage.
She gets mad at them later on for a line regarding this, but
you can only call him a spy if it's like in a sexual context.
But fucking not a sexual contact?
No, I mean afterwards when you're just having coffee, then it's weird, right?
Yeah.
But
it's like the teaser. Like you can't use it unless it's horny. Like
Spy brackets horny.
Yeah,
that's right. We also see
we see horny was also the alternate name of this podcast.
Is it too late to change? I honestly,
it's a good screen name.
Meanwhile, we get like one shot of Joubert killing Wicks like you said he was going to, which is...
This is so good.
This was a different time in nursing, right? It's in Gouverneur Hospital. There are two nurses. They're watching the heart monitors. One of them just flatlines. And one of them turns to the other and goes, hey, is that the guy in room 18? And they just, with the most resigned energy in the world, just picks up the phone to call it in. Nursing back in the day must have been the easiest fucking job in the world if you could be like, oh gosh, a guy dying? Better call a man to deal with this shit. And then just fucking, I don't know, go back to your crosswords.
Yeah.
Perfect.
People forget that sexism is actually really good for women.
Yeah, because I love not doing any work.
It's rules.
It's complicated for my girl brain, and I got to leave it to the men to do it. Therefore, I got to just sit here with my feet kicked up in the nurses'
damn, that's crazy. Yo, one of my patients just flatlined. Fucking, that sucks.
CPR? I couldn't possibly with my little girl arm muscles.
I would hurt my nails if I did that.
Yeah,
Literally
exactly.
doesn't even go have a look.
Yeah,
it's so good.
She doesn't even look like.
Just sparks up a cigarette immediately. Fuck this.
No wonder that the survival rate for heart attacks is actually really, really good these days, and it's just because we decided to teach women CPR.
So meanwhile, back at the ranch, while Faye Dunaway, while Faye Dunaway is showering the Robert Redford off her pussy, the mailman arrives and he's like, hey, you got to sign for this package, or someone's got to sign for it. And that's something that I like, incidentally, is that
he goes postal.
Almost all the killers in this movie rely on like social obligation. Like, yes. Hey, you're gonna walk down this alleyway to see your friend. At one point, Jobert's like, hey, please get out of the lift first. Someone has to sign for this package. It's like something that you kind of instinctively know is wrong, but you're being socially compelled to go along with because it's just sort of part of your socialization.
It's really good. He's like, look, someone's got to sign for this package. And then he goes, all right, fine. He opens the door. And Melman hands him a pen, and the pen doesn't work, naturally. And he goes, look, I'm sorry, man, I don't have another pen. And, like, there's a brief pause there before Redford's like, yeah, okay, come on, I'll get a pen. Like, you're in, baby. You done it. It's a perfect fucking Perfect scene. And then he goes completely sicko mode.
Well, he realizes his shoes are too fancy to be mailman's shoes, so he instinctively goes for the pen, but instead grabs the coffee pot and throws it at the guy.
That's an awfully hot coffee pot.
While he's trying to shoot him with his silenced MAC-10. And that touches off what I would like to describe as alcoholic foo.
Yes, you're fucking right. Yeah. Speak on it, brother.
Because Dev, you sent me a screen cap and you said it looks like if Colin Firth was in a zombie movie hiding a bite and very clearly turning. This guy does look like alcoholic, paunchy Colin Firth doing roundhouse kicks and fucking kung fu shit. And like the fighting isn't bad, it's just weird.
It's like Disco Elysium shit.
Yes. Yeah. He's kicking at head height.
The mailman like has his hands in kung fu stance and and then Robert Redford's just like brawling normally. It's really weird to see a two-person fight where only one person is doing kung fu.
But like, do you remember I want to say it's Die Hard or maybe Die Hard 2, where like in order to establish in advance that maybe it's Die Hard with a Vengeance to establish with that the one of the villains is like a fucking martial artist. Like the opening scene, like in the opening credits, is like intercut with scenes of him naked doing Tai Chi in his hotel room, just like to be like, look, this guy is he's ripped and he's yoked and he's jacked and he's a martial artist. And so then when he starts knowing martial arts, like you aren't necessarily surprised by it when it happens later in the film. That's a pretty ham-handed way of doing it, but like, you know what I mean though. They've established
they do the exact same thing with George Lazenby in The Man from Hong Kong.
Oh my god, yeah.
But in this case, in this film, there's no sort of advanced notice that the alcoholic mailman knows kung fu, so it just comes out of fucking nowhere, and it's like he's like full on doing 70s gun kata. Like it's blowing my mind.
It comes out of nowhere because it comes out of nowhere for Robert as well. Like it puts you in his shoes to be like, holy shit, this mailman knows kung fu. Holy fuck!
Holy shit, the alcoholic mailman knows kung fu.
He does end up killing the kung fu mailman with some difficulty. He takes like a
kung fu mailman.
Holy shit! The fucking reverse Colin Firth from Us by Jordan Peele has attacked me, and he knows fucking kung fu.
Yeah, and then you beat his ass with a fire poker, and then wind up. If I remember correctly, he winds up shooting him with the 45.
The 1911,
yeah, and not the MAC-10. He doesn't take the MAC-10, even though one presumes that might be of use to him.
I feel like every bullet had been
they
used.
They kill him. They take the shit from from his like corpse, which is like a piece of paper and a hotel key, and then they both run.
Yeah, with like a 70s phone number on that's like Albuquerque 257 or something like that.
Yeah, it's. Oh my god! I also want to note the fucking whenever he swings the poker, it makes the noise of something being swung in like a fucking kung fu movie, right? Like it's like baffling Foley.
There's a lot of phone shit in this movie. So like he traces that phone number back to
because he's a fucking count, which linesman,
a phone cunt. Yeah, but he traces this back to the CIA's New York headquarters in the World Trade Center.
Yeah, we didn't mention that, but like earlier on, we just like before we meet Uncle Ben, we just like suddenly dramatically cut to the Twin Towers.
Well, like this, the thing he drives Faye Dunaway there. He's like, okay, let's get this over with. Cut to pan up the whole length of the fucking World Trade Center.
Yeah, it's a cut back to Robert Redford's training in Signal Corps school where there's a guest student from the Saudi Arabian army, and he's just like, man, he's like, I feel like our friendship is going to pay dividends in the future.
It's a real problem for me growing up in the cultural milieu that I have, that when I see an image of the Twin Towers, my immediate response is to laugh at it. Because like they just use it as an establishing shot, and I'm like, ha ha, I get it.
Yeah, there's a bit in the animated series of Men in Black where someone's like, oh, what's the tallest building in Manhattan? And Agent J is like, the World Trade Center. It's like,
So together they kidnap Higgins out of his office.
Yeah, because Robert Redford is like, look, why are the CIA trying to kill me? I think it has something to do with my report. Like, I submit my report about, like, I think I found some weird shit. And then, like, the next day, my section chief flies in from Washington to kill me. Like, clearly I'm onto something here. What if there's a CIA inside the CIA?
Yeah. What if there is?
A second, smaller CIA.
And Higgins refuses to help him other than to tell him about Jobert, who is this, like, mercenary killer who has been hired by someone inside the intelligence community. I didn't know that the phrase intelligence community was that old, but it is, and Robert Redford has a joke about it even.
Community. Jesus, you guys are kind to yourselves. Community.
Yeah, I wrote that down. It's like he refers to it. He's not from within the community, and Redford's like, "Fuck's sake, man, really?"
Yeah,
The family, the company. Fuck you, dude.
It's not a community. You just follow each other on Twitter. That's all it is. There's like no community at all. But
do I talk like a CIA?
But Higgins is like, I'm not going to help you. And then Joe's like, look, with great power comes great responsibility. And he's like, yeah, okay, fine. Jobber, he's Max von Sydow. He was in Skyrim and a bunch of other things.
Yeah.
He's European.
Yeah, he was
of some kind.
Blofeld in Never Say Never Again.
Yeah. So he traces Jobber back to using his telephone hacking training. Traces Jobber back to his hotel room where he's painting his little Warhammer minis.
Yeah, I also
Genuinely
love that.
is.
I do too. Him painting miniature figurines was one of that just made me laugh out loud watching it. There's
like Drax and Ronan.
I was going to say, this is the second bonus movie where we've cut to like a famous actor just painting minis.
Choosing to believe this is the same guy.
But that's the thing, right? Is that, Alice, you have your conception of based Euro vibes, but I feel like that's based Euro vibes sexual, and he is based Euro vibes non-sexual.
That's true.
Like if you are a guy who wears a trilby and a camel haircoat and you kill people with the world's weirdest pistol, like the shortest barrel and longest scope on a pistol, and you paint Warhammer figurines in your hotel room and you crucially never consume alcohol, that is like based Euro vibes non-horny. Whereas if you're Jeeps Van der Boostje and you have your BDSM shop with the pup, like then you're sexual based Euro vibes.
Yeah,
that's fucking true. Right. God, you're so right.
but so he does some phone hacking, like in the show phone
magic. Through a number of reasons, like he gets Jobert's hotel like number, like which hotel it is and which room it is, because he like takes the key to a key cutter and he's like, look, you can fucking read on the side of this, there's a serial number. Can you just ring up the fucking manufacturer and ask them what hotel they are supplying to? To which the dude, another classic New York guy, is just like, I don't want to read about you on the news, pal. Which
and it's then immediately paid off.
And then he goes, I got none. Yeah.
He's like, hey, yo, I got like this big wad of $1 bills. Is that gonna solve your problem? The guy's like, shit, man, that's like my rent for a fucking year. What I want to say though is this is an interesting thing because he traces the number. He gets the hotel and the room for that key. He then goes to the switch exchange in the hotel, which I guess makes sense back in those days if they had them. He then listens, he records it, and what he's able to do is listen to the phone conversation and the phone numbers that basically he crank calls Joubert. And
does.
And then Joubert then calls his contact, and what he does is he records the touch tone because he can then play it back to an exchange where it'll basically connect him to that call, and he's able to identify that number and figure out, if I remember correctly, that it's the regional director of the CIA's Middle East division's home.
Atwood, his name is.
Atwood.
He does phone magic, which obviously I imagine at the time, like watching this, you're like, holy fucking shit, you can do that. But at this point, I'm so removed from the concept of landlines that
remember how the thing in fucking The Hunt for Red October is like, you think it's a throwaway about like, oh yeah, the ability to access a submarine via hatch by clamping and pressurizing, and then it comes up in the like, and then they actually have to do it, and then I was fucking honking like a goose because I was like, I cannot believe it. Like they did such a good job of making it seem like ancillary information that Jack Ryan is taking on, and then it matters. It's the same thing with this, like Signal Corps guy, but he basically like he does like Signal Corps like telephone gun kata.
He does nerd magic.
It's incredible. Like it's, to me, it's so well done, and I think that was one of the moments where I was watching, like especially when he's in the big New York telephone exchange, and he's able to like wire the circuits together so they can't trace the line. But he's going through what looks like a fucking like like primitive technology crypto mining farm of all of these like telephone wire exchanges, where I was just like, this is a thing that existed and would have been normal in 1974, but this looks like this literally looks like a Tarkovsky movie now because it's so removed from the present.
What's really, really funny is that Higgins tries to like trace the phone because he calls Higgins to be like, hey, who's Atwood? Incidentally, I know you're fucking me. And Higgins cannot trace the thing, despite going to a big arcade cabinet whose sole purpose is to say "trace completed." I love this fucking cabinet. I want to make it the episode art. It's perfect.
Can we also say one thing about Higgins? Because at this point, if I remember correctly, the Higgins has the Higgins kidnap happened yet, or are we getting to that?
Yeah, that's happened.
Okay,
yeah. We've been and gone. Yeah,
Higgins' fucking coat.
Oh,
yes,
he's got like
you
this
are right.
fur-trimmed.
Fuck.
It might be fox fur even.
Yeah,
it's definitely like real fur.
It's like a double-breasted coat with fox fur on the collar, on the lapel, and it basically the best way I could describe it is that like if you were watching a 70s sci-fi film where they've got Doc Holliday but he runs a brothel, like 100% that's what he would be wearing.
Fuck me.
That is the coat that you buy the year before you realize you're a trans woman.
Maybe I should get into wearing like cowboy boots, and then you have a realization. Yeah. So
I have 2 pairs of cowboy boots over in the corner.
I know.
Oh, you just fucking owned me.
Sorry, I've got Gundams.
Sorry, 3.
We're all neurotypical. So we at this point,
I'm normal.
He has to go and drop off Faye Dunaway. He has to end their affair, put her on a bus to Vermont, where she's going to go and meet her boyfriend. And at this point, the movie sort of like takes a holiday into film noir, right? Like all of the shots are bordering on it, and all of Faye Dunaway's lines. It's really like she talks about how his eyes, they aren't kind, but they don't miss anything. I could use a pair of eyes like that. And then there's this fantastic line where he asks what her boyfriend is like, and she says, "Oh, she's tough." Well, what's he going to do? And he finds out and understand. And he goes, wow, that is tough. And it's just pure Bogart is what it is.
Yeah, it's really, really good. I like it a lot.
Yeah. And so, but he, sort of swears her to secrecy, and they have this parting moment that's a little bit Casablanca. It's really good.
Yeah, and then she leaves the movie, which is a really good choice.
And he departs into more steam than I have ever seen in the entire time I've lived in New York City. They managed to make what I believe was supposed to be
supposed to be the train.
The train to Penn Station, yeah. But because it could only be really when you think about she's going north to, he's going south to D.C. So the only place that I can think of where you would catch a train in those days or now to go south would be New York Penn Station. And so I just do not recall for the life of me ever seeing it be that smoky and grimy. Like it looked like I'd never seen anything like that before. But there's such a good effect of like their parting and the tension ramping up because he's got to make the train before it leaves, and you hear the conductor calling last call, all aboard, stuff like that. And then like the steam and the smoke and shit. Like there's just something very atmospheric about it.
Yeah.
And
it's like the train had come in from the 1930s just to do the noir thing extra.
Yeah. Very much so. Yeah, I agree.
And another thing that we failed to note though is as this is a spy movie set in New York, it is Christmas.
It is, yes.
So, which is good because everyone's wearing a huge coat, and I love a huge coat.
That's true. And gloves, also very good gloves.
Gloves.
So he breaks into Atwood's house and then, unseen, goes through his record collection in order to find a suitably threatening vinyl record to start blasting in the middle of the night in his study to get him to come down.
Good thing he lives alone, apparently.
That's cool.
Yeah,
in a really big house.
And also had a surprising sort of taste in music because he plays him this like sort of quasi funk song about having you right where I want you. But so he holds him at gunpoint. He's like, why did you kill my friends?
It's the Jason Bourne thing. Who am I? Who do I work for?
Yeah, exactly. And then he has the sort of the vulgar Marxism.
This whole damn thing was about oil.
And it was. Atwood had like
oil.
Like your classic rogue department thing that we've talked about for ages, it's just CIA within the CIA. They were going to invade the Middle East for oil. And then he accidentally stumbled upon it, so he had their entire section killed. At which point, Joubert, Mr. Eurovibes, enters the fucking scene, holds him at gunpoint.
Dude's rock.
And you think, okay, well, he's gonna kill him then. But instead, he kills Atwood on behalf of the CIA, having been working for him. Totally unsentimentally, he's like dusting stuff off of fingerprints. Like, do you touch anything other than this chair when you were like going, who am I? Who do I work for?
Big Scaramanga vibes.
It's really good. Max wants it so fucking, because he walks in, he like executes this guy, and he's like, "He was about to become an embarrassment. You seem based. Would you like to become a hitman?"
This conversation, cool. They have this little debrief on the way back out.
Learn the ways of a hitman.
He's like, how did you know which woman to kidnap? And he says, "I just picked at random because she looked like Faye Dunaway." And he just like
Faye Dunaway. What are you?
With the sort of detached appreciation of it, like a chess play. He's like, really? I never would have guessed.
Standing move.
And we get this like
good.
This beautiful sort of counter. It's a counterpoint to two things we've talked about. First of all, do you recall the bit in Syriana where George Clooney goes, "Whatever the most dangerous thing is that you do in your daily life, you'll be killed doing it."
Yes.
We get a counterpoint to that where Joubert explains to him, if he stays in the United States, how he's going to be killed. It's like, they'll send someone that you recognize, and they'll send a car, and then you'll have to get in the car and you'll be killed. Which is, again, it's the same thing, but it's great. But then what follows it is sort of a counterpoint to the movie Ronin, where he says, "Well, why don't you go into business for yourself? Why don't you run?" And Robert Redford doesn't want to because he's a patriot, because this is the 70s, but also because he would find it tiring. And he goes, "No, it's not tiring. It's quite restful. It's peaceful. You don't have to
being a podcaster."
Yeah, you don't have to believe in anything. You don't have to think about any causes. The only thing that you have to trust in is your own precision." And it's a great fucking piece of character.
You don't have to have the
building.
cognitive effort of subscribing to an ideology or pretending to.
It's
really good.
Just to subscribe to a Patreon.
That's right.
Thank you for doing so, by the way.
I do think that it's very interesting how this is a sort of paranoid domestic spying scandal kind of thing, but you recognize the extent to which the Cold War is just looming so large over this that I feel like this film, better than a lot of other films of this period that I've seen, kind of captures paranoia, but also it doesn't over-explain stuff if it's not necessarily relevant to the character. Like, I think they do a good bit of establishing the things that you need to know about Robert Redford so that what he's doing later makes sense. And I don't want to necessarily call that like maturity, but I think there's a degree to which it trusts the audience to be paying attention. And that is something that I really appreciate about films from this period. Also, something I've said before is every now and again you will watch a film that, because this is almost 50 years old, that has the pacing of a modern film or something close to it, or something recognizably like if this film had come out 20 or 30 years later, it wouldn't have seemed like slow and out of date and so on and so forth. There is definitely some 70s line delivery in this film to some extent. I would say Faye Dunaway definitely is one of those people who it comes across like that that viral video on YouTube of the girl doing like every single 70s female actress line, which is everybody's just like, it's like, "Robert, you think I've never tried dope?" Like that kind of stuff. With
one exception.
Could always depend on the old spy fucker.
She slips out. She slips out of Faye Dunaway to do that line. It's weird.
"You think I've never smoked grass?" Like it's just there's an extent to which I appreciate that this film, for all of its, call it, weird 70s flaws, still has a certain degree of like seriousness and maturity and sort of trust in the viewer. And you genuinely will miss a lot if you aren't paying attention the entire time, because it sort of assumes you will be. And I appreciate that. Like, I'm not going to call this a perfect movie, but I understand why people like it so much. Even if it does have the worst sex scene I've ever seen in a film. There is this sensation that it's sort of like it's something very, very original. And that's the thing I like most about it.
I really, really like the idea that, like, living that kind of life of, being a fugitive could be relaxing, could be liberating. You never fucking see that anywhere anymore. And it explains so much about why Joubert is the way he is, that it's like, you don't have to do anything. You can just paint your little fucking Warhammer minis.
You just have to get into painting minis.
Yeah, exactly.
There's some nice stuff, speaking of the dialogue, the 70s dialogue editing. I noticed that the dialogue editor left a lot more space between each character's lines than you would normally have in a modern film. Like, normally, this is partly because of the influence of modern acting training, actors are really taught to pick up our cues, but also just the way that films are edited for pacing. you won't normally get a line and a pause and a line and a pause, but you do in this. And it really kind of lets things sit. And the film uses time and conversational time in a very effective way, I think.
So the Condor goes back to New York and he meets with Higgins, who is about to like bring him in. And he tells him, well, actually you can't. First of all, because I have you at gunpoint. But second of all, because I have told my story to the New York Times. That the CIA
had printed
had,
a whole load of transphobia.
Yeah.
Really weirdly.
The CIA has developed these plans to invade the Middle East for oil, right? But, and they were going to act on them unilaterally.
I wonder what that would be like.
No, it's not even that. Like, Higgins is like, look, this wasn't a real plan. We were just like wargaming this, right? We were just trying to figure this out. But
Atwood was like,
fuck, this would work. Let's just do it. And we were like, it's time to kill this man for this. And we have a great line, which is from Robert Redford going, do we have plans to invade the Middle East? To which Higgins goes, absolutely not. A movie made in 1975. I guess maybe they didn't.
But so Higgins feels moved to like justify the CIA, right? And his thing is, today it's oil, tomorrow it might be food or plutonium, which okay, sure. People aren't gonna like want a democratic vote on whether they get these things when they start running out of them. They're gonna want us
because they're not gonna get a vote on it either
to go and get them. And he there's this, I think the crux of this line, right, is like, what do you think people are going to do when people who have never known hunger start going hungry, right? There's so much there about the sort of guilt and uncertainty of US prosperity, right? And of course, like, people were already going hungry in the US in the 70s, and what the CIA did about it was to sell them crack, but like...
Yeah. But just not people who fucking like mattered.
No, but by the end of this decade, and by the next decade, people who did matter to the CIA were going hungry, and it didn't move them to do much for their prosperity either.
Yeah.
It's a busted flush, at least now, but it reads so quaintly, and at the time, it's like, a little bit of sort of A Few Good Men or whatever, where it's like, oh, actually, we need to do this because this is how your lifestyle is sustained, is by me doing this stuff. And it's like, okay, but the historical examples you've given us, that it didn't happen. That's not how it happened. Also, the other thing about this, right, because the ending's quite ambiguous, which I like. The ending is he goes, the Condor goes, I have told my story to the New York Times, and Higgins just, well, first of all, he kind of like visibly quakes in his boots a bit at the suggestion, which is very funny.
Yeah, deeply funny.
Yeah, but he rallies himself a bit and he goes, well, how do you know they'll print it? And if they don't print it, you're going to be killed. And all Robert Redford is left with is to go, they'll print it, a little sort of uncertainly as he leaves.
Yeah.
And sort of I would say the implication there is that, like, I don't know, that to me is the movie grabbing the microphone and being like, a free press is the cornerstone of democracy, Pentagon Papers, etc., which, yes. Sure, okay, but...
Yeah, they've given it to their top man, this guy called Jesse Signal.
No, I've told this guy, Glenn Greenwald, a story. I'm sure this won't come back on me at all. Listen, I used encryption for it, it's fine. And that's the movie.
Jeffrey Tubin.
Yeah, that's 3 Days of the Condor. What did we think of this movie? What do we think about fucking, I don't know, the 70s, New York society?
Oh my god,
what does it say about masculinity?
What does it say about masculinity?
I think this is a really good counterpoint.
It says it's okay to kidnap a woman, provided you don't, like, rape her. You just let her be into it on her own time, which is 2 days maximum.
Yes.
That's what, yeah.
It's interesting because having watched The Bourne Identity, which is according to
a worse version of this movie,
objective spectrum, the Scum System, the best movie we've ever seen. You can really counterpoint the two between each other because it's like, dude is hunted, doesn't understand why, kidnaps woman, and like the car ride home is the point of divergence between the two, because on the car ride, which is only like 6 hours in the fucking Bourne Identity, like they just start talking and they like start to genuinely hit it off, whereas in this one he's still suspicious.
Yeah, again, if you let a trans someone talk uninterrupted for 40 minutes,
that's actually what he does
you
to her as
will
well.
get
as Bourne.
Jason Bourne doesn't even really kidnap her. He pays her. Like, it's...
The fact that the car ride is used for such different purposes in this, because 3 Days of the Condor, adapted from the book 6 Days of the Condor. My man was on a budget time-wise this time. And instead they use it to like really sell that this guy is really earnestly and genuinely paranoid about what's occurring here.
Yeah, and dangerous.
Absolutely.
I would say that I absolutely loved this film. I realize
really
it's got
good.
flaws, but I think to me, I hadn't seen The Long Goodbye or The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3 until a couple of years ago. And movies from that era of sort of like America's falling apart 1970s are so cool to me, especially when there's just like a lot of slice of life stuff, kind of included in them. And I think this film actually may have more than The Taking of Pelham 1, 2, 3 in a lot of ways. More, sort of like you have the scene like the sandwich shop, the locksmiths, her apartment in Brooklyn Heights, which, I mean, it's really funny too, because it's like she's never established what she does for a living. Brooklyn Heights has always been kind of bougie, and that is a nice fucking apartment.
Yeah, the rent now $3,000 a second.
Yeah, exactly.
Basement floor,
but there's
fucking
so
apartment.
much more. Yeah. I mean, granted, it is on the ground, the basement of a brownstone, but still, like, it's very nice. But what I would say though is that I felt like I got a lot more of that treasured weird 70s ambiance from watching this film. But I think that even despite that, like, it could still be a very bad film and have all that. It's not a bad film. I think it's indicative of a time. And like, if we want to talk about hauntology, I feel like the idea of making a film in which the CIA is unambiguously the bad guy.
Sure.
Yeah.
The CIA is unambiguously the enemy of peace is a very, very strange thing when you think about where we are now as far as like how American cinema represents American life and America's presence in the world. So I really, really enjoyed it. I found it to be an absolute delight to watch, and it makes me want to find more weird 70s films to watch. Yeah. Hopefully,
the Parallax View, something like that.
Yeah, that hopefully I can find other viral tweets about insane outfits that make me want to watch a movie.
The outfits in this really are incredible.
I mean, this is the major way that you end up coming onto these episodes, is that we will mention a movie and you will be in the group chat like, holy shit, that movie is great. And we'll be like, get on the fucking pod. I think we did the exact same thing with Hunt for the Red October. We just... You basically just have like the king's choice if you ever want to be on an episode.
Yeah, exactly.
I wasn't on the episode of The Name of the Rose, but I appreciate you citing your sources when you quoted me as saying that Brother Berenger was tearing through twinks like Sherman through Georgia.
That's right. Just
homosexual.
I understand.
You said that before I watched the fucking movie as well, so I had to watch the movie with that in the forefront of my mind the entire time.
You cannot say that I don't understand the spirit of this show.
That's right.
Well, we have a science-based rating system on the show. It's called the Scum System.
Wait, this is a bonus episode, isn't it?
Oh, in that case,
we can
mind.
use it if you were like. I don't know.
That's gonna fuck up the whole metric.
Okay, well,
I don't want to fuck up the whole metric.
I'd hate to fuck up the whole metric.
No, absolutely not. Well, in that case, it only remains for me to say thank you for subscribing to the Patreon. We will be producing more bonus content.
Whose turn is it next time?
God,
this was my pick. So who picked previous one?
It might even be mine. So
oh god,
watch this space. Yeah, no, I'm sorry in advance.
Grabbing my seat.
That's right. But in the meantime, thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.
Thank you for listening to yet another episode of Kill James Bond. Next week on the free feed, we commence our Jack Ryan, Tom Clancy series with Patriot Games 1992, starring Harrison Ford. the first of a few film series that we will be watching through, starring Harrison Ford. I'll tell you that for free. Well, I'm not telling you it for free, are you? You've paid £5 a month to be here. And thank you for doing so. Consider paying £15 a month so that your name can be amongst these most respected and hallowed names. Christine Fox, Fawkes Winchester, Paint McCullough, Jack Holmes, George Rohack, Thomas Oberhart, Yarrick, Carolyn Tankersley, Benno Rice, Max Kapinski, Morgan Bennett, Kit Devine, Library Hitman, Max Gamenhart, Jonathan Gurday, Hell Bloodhands, Kentucky Fried Commie, Dread Pirate Robin, Saphira Luciferax, Fremen Commissar Jen, Ellie without the E, Tarp O, Big Titty Goth Girl, Sydney Steckle, Mothman, Trip, Charlie Out of the Closet, Jenna and Poor, Zoe Shepherd, Elizabeth Cox, Turfs, Eat Shit and Die Alone, Finn Ross, Alfredo, Raised on a Diet, I Make Devon Say This Out Loud, Wolfie, Al Irving, Ryle Leal, Millie, JM111519, Bon LeBon, Josh Simmons, and Lauren Bastin. Kill James Bond is Alice, Abigail, and Devon. Our producer and indeed our guest is the wonderful Nate Bethea. Our podcast art is by Maddie Lubchansky, and our website is by Tom Allen. See ya. Mwah.